Hi everyone, I'm Romeo Razzi CPA here, and today I'm going to teach you guys how to handle an IRS audit. Now there are three different types of IRS audits that are very common. First is called a correspondence audit, the second type is called an office audit, and the third type is just a full-blown IRS audit. A correspondence audit is when the IRS mails you a letter and asks you to send them some information via fax or mail. The second type of audit that we're going to go over, called an IRS Office Audit, is when the IRS sends you a letter, they're asking you questions about your tax return, and they want you to come down to their office to present yourself and present your case of the items that they're investigating. Third type of audit is a full-blown IRS audit, and those audits are usually done for businesses. The IRS comes into your office. They'll sit there for maybe 2 or 3 days. They'll ask questions of your staff, of the owners. An office audit could turn into a full-blown audit, but today we're going to talk about how to handle an IRS office audit. The way I'm going to tell you how to handle it is through a story of somebody I helped 4 years ago. We're going to call him Adam. And 4 years ago, right in the middle of tax season, this person named Adam called me and he says, "Hey, I got selected for this IRS office audit. I was wondering whether or not you can help me." And I told Adam, I said, "Listen, I work mostly with businesses. The minimum I charge to help anyone for IRS audit representation is $2,000. And he's all, "Hey, that's a lot of money." And I told him, "Well, what is it exactly that the office audit paperwork is asking you for?" He told me that they're auditing his charitable donations, his medical deductions, and they're also auditing his contributions to his HSA. I said, "Listen, Adam, I can tell you're a really nice guy. You sound really sweet. I could tell you're terrified," which is normal. When you get a letter from the IRS, most people are always terrified. I said, "I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. I'm not even going to charge you. I'm going to give you the exact information you need to go and defend yourself in this IRS audit, so that way you can go do it and then you don't have to pay me. And I'm going to give you guys the same information that I gave Adam." A little background on Adam. Adam is a little religious, and every single year he would do tithing. For those of you who don't know what tithing is, it's when you give a certain percentage of your income every year to your religious or charitable organizations. And in his religion, it was very common to give 10% a year in tithing. But the one thing that Adam realized is that if he gives 10% every year, he doesn't give enough money so that way he will be over the standard deduction to get a deduction, to itemize. And in order for you to get a deduction for your charities and for your medical, you need to itemize. So one of the things Adam was doing was, instead of giving 10% every year, he was giving 20% every other year. And so that way, by giving 20% every other year, he would itemize his taxes and he'd be able to take that deduction because it would be over the standard deduction. And so in that particular year, he had given 20% and he had a lot of medical expenses that year. So the thing I told him, I said, "This is what you're gonna do. You're gonna go and you're gonna create a binder for the IRS. Because when I worked at the IRS, we liked it when everything was orderly and easy to understand. And it was very much like this. And I told them, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna go and you're gonna get every single receipt that you have, every single bank statement that you have regarding your charitable donations, your medical expenses, because it wasn't that he was giving everything to just one charity. He had them like all over the place. He was randomly giving them month to month through his automatic pay, through his bank and his credit cards. And so I told him, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take every single one of those expenses. You're gonna create a table of contents, and then you're gonna create a spreadsheet. And on every single one, you're gonna put a line that goes across that says, here's the date, here's a reference to the page right after that shows you where you're gonna find this deduction in the book that I'm gonna give you, then a description of what that deduction is, and then exactly how much it was. And you're gonna do that for every single expense. And you're gonna do one folder area for your charity, you're gonna do one area for your medical, and you're gonna do one area for your HSA contributions. I said, if you do that and you present it to the IRS auditor, I promise you, you're not gonna have any problems. Now, Adam was very reluctant because he's terrified. So then I said, okay, good luck, and let me know how it goes. A couple weeks go by, and then he calls me and he says, hey, Romeo, I started working and trying to get all this paperwork. And he's like, this is a lot of work, creating these spreadsheets and adding everything and writing all the descriptions. And I said, yeah, that's why I charge a minimum of $2,000. Because if you don't do it, I have to do it. And I told him, look, you remember when you were younger, when you would work really hard, long days, and you would just grind out something? He's all, yeah, I do. I said, when is your audit? He said, it's on Tuesday. I said, this is what you're gonna do. On Saturday, you're gonna wake up at 8 a.m., you are gonna put your head down, you're gonna put on your favorite music, and you're just gonna grind this out. And you only have to do it once, and you know that you're gonna spend 4 or 5 hours on Saturday doing it, and you're gonna be done. He understood like I was giving him a mission he needed to complete. He prints out all of his bank statement, he prints out all of his credit card statements, he gets copies of all the receipts he has for charity. He goes and he starts putting all that information. He finished putting the entire binder together. He told me it took him pretty much all Saturday to put it all together. And then on Tuesday, he went into the IRS office downtown for his office audit. He goes into the audit, and they had told him over the phone when he had called them, they said, this should take about 2 to 3 hours. He goes in there, the auditor is like, hello, Adam. We're here to audit your charity and your medical and your HSA. And he's like, all right, here's my stuff. He just kind of slides it over to them. The IRS auditor looks at it, and he looks at it, he looks up at him, he opens it, he sees a nice table of contents like I've got here, and then he turns to the very first section. He sees that it's nicely labeled, and then on there, exactly what I mentioned. You've got the date of the transaction, the page that it goes to, the name of what it is, and the amount where it would all tick and tie. Now this is just an example I put together. And so then the IRS auditor starts looking at it and starts going through the pages. And he sees as he's going through the pages that the bank statements are tying to this reference sheet, and he's seeing that everything is highlighted. And the IRS auditor couldn't believe it. He starts going through and he starts checking, because he had a lot that year. That year he had a lot of transactions. That binder was very thick. Then he starts going through them and he starts realizing that everything is tick and tying perfectly. After about 15 minutes, the auditor looks at Adam and says, you know what? This is the most organized I've ever had somebody come to me. He said, I'm just gonna mark this no change and let you go. So this audit that was supposed to take 2 or 3 hours, within 20 minutes was finished. So then Adam, he gets to his car with his little paperwork that tells him, hey, this is gonna be a no change. He immediately calls me on the phone. He was so excited. He was like, I can't believe it. Like, I gave him this thing, and then he said he'd never seen anything so well organized. He said, hey, is there anything I could do for you? I said, listen, you can go to my Google and you can write a nice review for me. So this is the way I explained to him, and I'm explaining to you, how you handle an IRS office audit. And it's very similar with a correspondence audit. In one of my future videos, I'm gonna teach you guys what happens when you have a full-blown audit, because those are the type of audits I would conduct when I worked at the IRS. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and let me know what you think in the comments. Stay tuned for the next video to keep the IRS off your back.